I'm trying to figure out my mood. I know that's a strange thought, right? I mean, I am. I'm just trying to figure out my mood. I mean, it's Wednesday, correct? Correct, Wednesday. And I like Wednesday. Wednesday's really not a problem. Um, but Wednesday has no feel. Remember that? Has no feel. Wednesday really has no feel. But it's Wednesday. Trump is headed to what? Qatar. Qatar. He's headed to Qatar from Saudi Arabia. I'm your host, BKP. I'm actually in a great mood. I really am. I'm just looking around and, you know, um, on this hand over here, you know, I love the fact that Trump likes peace. And I like the fact that my president of the United States does not look at war as the option, the first option. Let's figure something out. I mean, I like that. I do. But then I got to ask, did we make a deal with the terrorist in Syria? But okay, all right. I'm just, wondering. So I'm your host, BKP. You're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. Good morning, Diane. I hope you're doing well. May 14th, 2025, 8:02 in the morning. Now at 10 o'clock on the Georgia show, the fastest growing political program in Georgia. It is. The Georgia Hour, the Georgia Show. That's Bill Quinn. I got to give him a shout out. Did I say the Georgia Show, Diane? It's going to be that kind of day right out of the box. Did I say that? I mean, I don't have the tape. So let's go ahead and give him a shout out. Bill Quinn over at the Georgia Record. He does the Georgia Show throughout the week. He does the Georgia Show. So I'll give him a shout out. That's at the Georgia Record. You can find him. I think he does it on Sundays. We do the Georgia Hour. We picked out an hour. We were mixing everything up. And we said we need an hour dedicated to Georgia. So we dedicated that at 10 o'clock in the morning. So the Georgia Hour, every day at 10 o'clock, the fastest growing political show in the state of Georgia. Well, it might be growing in other states. I got to get my act together. Diane, I hope you're ready, because I got a feeling you're going to have to step in and make a couple corrections. So give me number 5. I have my Reagan shirt on today. We're going to get rolling here. We're going to get rolling. I have my Reagan. You know where I got my Ronald Reagan shirt? Reagan, let's make him. That's got some age on it, right? I have that on the back of a hat. If you're wondering what the background, that pin is on the back of a hat. But my Ronald Reagan shirt, I got it at the Reagan Library, Simi Valley, California. I got my Ronald Reagan shirt. So I just thought I'd throw it on at 10 o'clock today. We're going to have, give me number 6. We're going to have a conversation, okay? So there's a couple candidates I've been talking with. It's not an interview. It's not a hard interview. It's a conversation, because I think it's important to get to know. Now, I don't want to know what favorite flavor of ice cream. I can't stand those. That's not going to happen. But I think you should get a feel for these candidates, who they are. And at 10 o'clock, we're going to have a conversation with David Cross. All right. He is a current second vice chair of the Georgia Republican Party, and he is running for chair. I've been reluctant to do interviews because I don't want to do interviews with these candidates. I don't want to sit here, and I want to do a conversation where you at home, the delegates, could get a feel for who these people are. So that's at 10 o'clock. We'll have David Cross on. And Debbie Dooley will probably be on also at 10 o'clock. Now, in politics, let me just say this, okay? Let me just say this in politics. Go ahead, take that down, Diane. I have mentioned this multiple times, all right? Now, I don't like to highlight in any way whatsoever, I don't like to say Joe Scarborough is correct. I don't like to say that. But every once in a while, he says something. You know, he was in Congress for quite a long time. All right. Wasn't he a member? Remember the Young Guns, right? Was that the Young Guns in Congress? And wasn't Joe Scarborough one of the conservative Young Guns that we sent to Congress? I mean, seriously. And he was there for quite some time. And until Minka turned his head, we'll leave it at that. Brzezinski there on MSNBC, and he actually knows politics. Just saying. Give me video 12.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the difference is, of course, 24, Trump's on the ballot. Right. And what we found time and again, what Republicans have found time and again, when Trump is on the ballot, they do better. When Trump is not on the ballot, they do worse. And Trump's not going to be on the ballot again. Yeah, some enthusiasm for the midterms.
Trump's not on the ballot in 2026. He's not on the ballot. Okay? I mean, I'm serious. That's the reason I brought that up. We're going to talk about that because we're going to talk about Syria. We're going to talk about Iran. We're going to talk about Saudi Arabia, Donald Trump, the peacemaker around the world at this time. We're going to discuss all of that. We're going to discuss the fact that, you know, I went to the dollar store yesterday. I did. I went to the dollar store. And, you know, I've watched every day on these despicable, evil networks how, remember, it just seems like it was only like 3 weeks ago. There was going to be, I'll come back to Trump's not going to be on the ballot. I know what you're thinking right now. But it was only 3 weeks ago that China and the tariffs and Canada, oh my God, no one would ever get drunk again because Canada was going to stop buying, you know, Canada was going to sober up, right? And Mexico and car parts. Just seems like 3 weeks ago, there would be nothing on the shelves. You remember all the networks, I'm talking all the deep state corporate corrupt networks, they were showing all the pictures of empty shelves, and they would come on and say, we feel the risk. Remember, you know, Jamie Dimon and all the great thinkers out there, our risk of a recession was 25%. Then it went up to 35. Then it went up to 45. And odds are there's no way out. They went to the Ratner charts, right? The Steve Ratner charts on MSNBC to show that there was no way out of a recession. No way out. And your 401k and the stock market had collapsed. And this all belonged to Donald Trump. Now, here's the one that got me. It was only 3 weeks ago. There would be COVID-like shortages. Show the pictures of the empty grocery shelves. And the place that concerned them the most was the dollar stores, right, with China. I listen to this every day. So yesterday, I had to go down, pick up my car from the shop, all right? And I had to go down and pick up my car from the shop. I had my car in the shop, having a little work done on it, right? So I pick it up, and right across the street is the dollar store. Well, we'll just say Dollar General, okay? I don't know. There are 19 different brands, but Dollar General's across the street. So I get in a car, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, I'd like to have some peanuts. Just saying. Brother had to have peanuts. They don't get all, Debbie, do not cut that for a racial clip. Because I just said the brother had to have some peanuts. So I said, I'll go over to the dollar store and get some peanuts. So I went in the dollar store, peanuts and a Coke, right? And I go in the dollar store and the shelves are full. I started walking down through there and I was like, there has to be an empty shelf or two. Has to be. The media told me this place would be empty. All right. So now give me video 8.
What's causing this latest drive, and what can we expect from Wall Street today?
Hey, Ali. Good morning. Yes, another positive day for markets on Tuesday after inflation came in lower than expected in April. Now, stock futures are seen higher overnight after the S&P rose 0.7% in Tuesday's session, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq also climbed 1.6%. The S&P is now in positive territory for the year, erasing those earlier gains as investors celebrated cooling inflation and easing trade tensions. Now, inflation for the month of April came in cooler than expected, as said, at 2.3% for the year. However, investors are still feeling somewhat cautious about the outlook and the prospects of a Fed rate cut, with many of them delaying their anticipation for it until at least September.
Have they erased all the losses? I don't know. I'm not a stock market kind of guy, but did they erase all the losses? Did April inflation come in cooler? So give me this right here. I thought I had a nice, there it is. I think I have it. Give me number 43. I just wanted to say, because, I know some of you have the fear of going out throughout the course of the day. CPI report shows inflation cooled in April. Stock market news, May 13. S&P 500 turns positive on the year for the first time. Positive on the year for the first time. Reuters, lower food prices. Okay. CPI report, inflation slows to the lowest pace since 2021. Now, let's see. Inflation is slowed. Wait a minute. So inflation has slowed to the lowest pace since 2021. Would 2021 be when Joe Biden got together with none other than Pete Buttigieg, the disaster, and signed a $1 trillion infrastructure bill? Would that be around 2021 that Biden signed this $1 trillion infrastructure bill, and they just started shoveling money out the window as fast as they could, and inflation? Because I think that headline says CPI report today, inflation slows to the lowest pace since 2021. You might as well read that headline. Trump is back in office. Inflation slows after the disaster called Joe Biden's administration, right? European shares steady, dollar softens. All right, so there you go. There's some headlines. Now, the interesting thing is right there, 2021. Take that down. We're going to get to everything else. We study the deep state corporate corrupt media. That what they've done, what they continue to do is yell fire in a crowded theater. They do. They continue to do that. And, you have freedom of speech, but you're not supposed to go in a dark theater, and all of a sudden stand up and yell fire and have everybody trample themselves on the way. That's not free speech. That's dangerous. I'm telling you right now, these people they should go to prison. Now, on that note of the inflation, keep in mind, what do we have? I tell you, you can't make this up. they have Newark International Airport. Now, this morning, I find it interesting that none of the networks did any airport disaster news, right? Now, I want to say this. I want to be cautious because it's how it comes across. But do you realize in the last 2 weeks that Sean Duffy and the radar, we lost the bleeps and we lost the screeps. Remember that? We lost the bleeps, bleep, 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 the screeps. You know, since they lost the bleeps on the radar a couple times, right? There hasn't been a plane fall out of the sky. And what is really sickening with these people, and I mean, it is a sickness with them. It's evil. All right, hell, let's go ahead. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Where is it at? Give me video 10.
These people are evil people.
Roll that again, Diane. I know you're just tick over here, but I need a clean. Trump has to have a clean sweep there. Roll that one more time.
These people are evil people.
Now, give me 67. I say this, and I regret having to say this. I have no regrets in life. Well, I have a few. Sounds like a song, right? But anyhow, with all the airlines ready, Sean Duffy, ready to fall out of the sky, has a plane fallen out of the sky? You know, if that happens, we got them. Well, that could kill hundreds of people. Yeah, I know, but you realize what we're going for here. What are you evil-ass people going for? So this guy, former transportation secretary, inflation is at the lowest rate since 2001 when Joe Biden signed a $1 trillion infrastructure bill with billions of dollars to go to airport upgrades, while this failure, former transportation secretary, was trying to determine which roads, airports, runways, terminals, bus stations were racist. No joke. And if DEI was implemented everywhere and every trans got their full opportunity in the Buttigieg, administration there, his reign as transportation secretary. Yes, you can't make this up. Number 68, the former transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg, he's out campaigning. Yes. It's possible he's running for office. Did I send 68? I may not have. I may not have sent it. There's 67, 68. I started in. Oh, there it is, Diane. Okay. Pete Buttigieg hammers. I never know if I sent it over, and I'm not going to give Diane a hard time. Pete Buttigieg hammers Trump at Iowa town hall amid 2028 presidential speculation. This is real. I'm like, what the hell? Now, so we're going to come back and we're going to dig right into Saudi Arabia, President Trump, the Crown Prince, what happened yesterday, the $600 billion deal that was inked with Saudi Arabia on investment, and how our country was treated as opposed to when Biden. Then we're also going to talk this morning about, you see, Benjamin Netanyahu came over here, and we've done the stories, okay? Benjamin Netanyahu came over here and sat down with Trump, and it's time to attack. It's time to attack, right? We need to attack Iran now. They're vulnerable. We could do it now. And Trump is thinking like, okay, let's see. And then we played, right, the Tucker Carlson interview. We've talked about it. And Israel wanted us to attack Iran. And Benjamin Netanyahu over in Israel right now is very upset, I think, with Trump, because now you have the North and you have the Golan Heights. You have the Golan Heights right there. Look at the map. You have Damascus. You have Syria. Trump just took all the tariffs off Syria to give them a chance. We'll talk about that. Did we make a deal with a terrorist? Turkey has encouraged us, along with the Arab states, to work with Syria. And in that mix somewhere could be a Palestinian state, because Trump also wanted, and we're going to get into that a little deeper. He wanted the Saudi Arabia to recognize and normalize relations with Israel. Now, Saudi and Israel, the Saudi Arabian kingdom, they do not fight with Israel, but they don't have a formal normalized relationship treaty signed between the two of them. And Trump pushed that, and the Saudi Arabia said, not yet. We are right there, but we got to talk about a Palestinian state. So there's a lot going on over there, but the warmongers are not involved. Interesting. So we'll come back. We'll talk about that now. So let's see what else we have on tap for this day. And the reason, I'll go back to it. God, please relax, people. The reason I brought up that Trump's not on the ballot in 2026, because there's little things, like it or not, you have to pay attention to it. And that's what I do in politics. And I have some people that get very upset with me and say, you should never highlight this. I'm not highlighting anything. But give me number 69. Now, Omaha, Nebraska. All right. Omaha Steaks, the Oracle of Omaha, right? The College World Series, Omaha, Nebraska. Now you have a Democrat mayor in Omaha, Nebraska. That's right. Democrat appears to win Omaha mayor's race, ending era of Republican. All right. And the first black mayor of Omaha. Give me number 70, Diane. Number 70. Democrat appears to win Omaha mayor's race, ending era of Republican leadership. John Irwin Jr. would be the first elected black mayor of Omaha, the largest city in Nebraska. The Republican incumbent Gene Start. I'll be damned. There's a T and an H and an O and an E. Had been seeking a fourth term. So the mayor of Omaha, Nebraska, a Republican seeking her fourth term, looks like has flipped to the very first black mayor of Omaha, Nebraska, a Democrat. Well, that's not a big deal. Okay, all right, it's not a big deal. Trump's not on the ballot. So, hey, how about if you got a little extra cash? If you got a little extra cash, you can always go to the RNC and give them a couple $100,000. 76. Wednesday, May 21st, right around the corner. You are cordially invited to a Republican National Committee RNC dinner with Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, in Atlanta, Georgia. The host committee is $250,000 250 buckaroos. Woo, woo, woo. Per couple. And if you're just having dinner, I mean, it's surf and turf. It's $100,000 per couple. If you're just having dinner, just dinner, 100,000. Oh my God. It just dawned on me. Could somebody please check number two? It's $100,000 a couple, 250 for a host committee, the dinner. Could somebody please check what our credit limit is on the card? I mean, that makes me nervous, Josh, having that card and the opportunity to have dinner. Well, it just makes me nervous. All right, folks, we'll be back right after these messages. We're going to jump into number 15. We'll get into that momentarily. And Joe Biden, Tulsi Gabbard fires deep state heads of Security Council. There's one they don't want to talk about. So the networks, we'll talk about that when we get back. Well, I found my mood. Take a break.
At Days Chevrolet in Jasper, we're proud because for more than 65 years, we've built a legacy of trust for the families we serve. That's why 80% of our business comes from repeat customers and referrals. When you treat folks as well as we do, word is bound to get around. Days Chevrolet in Jasper, family first since 1959. Days Chevrolet, Days gets it done. Together, let's drive.
Larry's Body Shop in Ellijay. Family owned and operated since 1978. The latest in cutting-edge digital technology and state-of-the-art equipment allow our iCar Gold Class certified technicians to restore your vehicle. Our second-to-none customer service will work directly with your insurance company. Major accident or minor fender bender, we take the dents out of accidents. Larry's Body Shop, North Georgia's #1 body shop. Visit us at collisiondecision.com.
Why give your money to liberal media companies? Put your marketing needs in the hands of a conservative marketing professional and start getting results today. FYN Media Group, one of the top digital marketing agencies in Georgia, specializes in website design and hosting, social media promotion and management, and so much more. Visit FYNmediagroup.com or call 706-889-3564 for a free consultation.
Welcome to El Rey Azteca Mexican Restaurant. We invite you to indulge your senses with our from-scratch authentic Mexican food. Whether you are hungry for fajitas or the El Rey Azteca burrito, we offer a wide variety of fine Mexican dishes, drinks, and desserts. Our inviting patio, indoor seating, and bar has a seat for everyone. So come to El Rey Azteca for delicious food, great drinks, good friends, and loads of fun in a casual and friendly atmosphere.
Ladies, when you wear elegant jewelry, you become a force to be reckoned with. You shine brighter than the stars in the sky, and your inner beauty radiates like the sun. So embrace the magic, embrace the elegance, and let your jewelry be a reflection of your true, authentic self. My friends over at North Georgia Diamond know what a woman wants. Go see them for the perfect gift. And remember, when it comes to elegance, there's no such thing as too much. Come see us at North Georgia Diamond. We're igniting passion one sparkle at a time.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
This is a special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
Mesquite Grill, now offering online ordering for your convenience. Check out our new website at mesquitegrillbr.com. That's mesquitegrillbr.com. The great food and service you have come to expect, ready for you when you arrive. Open 7 days a week with a fully stocked bar and friendly service. Bring your furry friends with you and dine on our pet-friendly patio. Also, check out our catering options and let us prepare delicious food for your next event.
All right, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP, and you're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. Now, at 10 o'clock, we'll have the Georgia Hour. The Georgia Hour will be at 10 o'clock today, and we're going to have a conversation with David Cross. We've covered a lot of information, and we will continue to cover information between now and the convention in Dalton. And there's some great candidates, some really good candidates. And this is our opportunity to actually get on the top side of the swamp. Really is, okay? Now, we have the, I'll say it at 10 o'clock. I'm going to leave it there. But David Cross will be our guest at 10 o'clock, all right? And I gotta walk away from it. I'm about ready to say things that I have to say for 10 o'clock on the Georgia Hour. And so Diane, I don't know. Let me try this again. Did I say this? Welcome back. I'm your host, BKP. You're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. Good morning, Diane. There you go. All right. So, I get worried because how about this book that's coming out now? Why is the book coming out now? Why now? To get it out of the way? Like Joe Biden could not even recognize Clooney, right? Is that what they're saying? So let me just put that out there, right? Give me number 61. Just briefly here. How will new claims impact Biden's legacy? Maybe how will new claims help Biden stay out of prison, or he can't testify against the crime family or something? I don't know. And then number 62, a new book describes damaging details about Biden's mental fitness. And 63, new book describes damaging details. He could not recognize, they went to a fundraiser in this book. They went to a fundraiser and Joe Biden did not recognize George Clooney, and Obama had to follow him around all night and finish his sentences for him because Joe would start and forget what he was talking about. And Obama, everybody there, every donor there, Obama would have to finish his sentences for him. Now, here's the interesting thing is at this time, he does not have the cognitive function to be commander-in-chief, to be the president of the United States. But yet, they allowed him to pardon his entire family. So there's a lot there. We'll get into it a different time. Now, Saudi Arabia, Donald Trump, and so let's go through a couple headlines here. Number 17. And the one thing, I'm always cautious because I never want this audience to get too worked up. But you remember back in the day, seriously, now think about it. Some of the older audience members back in the day when CNN actually did a pretty good job. I'll never say great, but a pretty good job on worldwide, what was happening in the news worldwide. There was a time back in the old days, right, where CNN had news bureaus all around the world, and they did a fairly good job on international reporting of big things, right? I watched CNN this morning. To their limited credit, caution, to their limited credit, they covered the live Trump Saudi Arabia and played his speeches and so forth, and more of what happened. Trump's arrival, his departure. Now, someone's going to say, well, Fox News did that. CNN did not do a really bad job with that. Now, that being said, I always go and get clips because I don't want to play just their clips because they leave some stuff out. So Trump goes to Saudi Arabia. He does not go to Israel, and he meets with Arab nations, not Israel, and he makes a deal in Saudi Arabia. He extends an olive branch to Iran. Basically, we don't hate the Iranian people. He says, you know what, these old wars and hate and strife, let's see what we could do to reset some of this stuff. All right. So I've said this for quite some time, and I don't want to confuse the conversation because there's people out there that really know their stuff when it comes to CIA and what the CIA did as far as Saddam Hussein, what the CIA has done as far as bin Laden, all around the world, what the CIA has done with Gaddafi. And we know, some of you out there, you know so well what has happened with the CIA in Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, the list goes on. So I will say this. I have said in several of these nations, I understand why they hate us. Now, I understand funding our CIA, and we'll just get through this. Our CIA funded terrorism. All right. Now, here's what we say. Boy, I'm going down a road. I'm going to get in trouble. But here's what we say, and it is correct, that Iran was broke. That's true. Iran was broke. Donald Trump had Iran broke. Now, if they would not have stolen the election, Iran may have already collapsed. But what did Joe Biden do? And John Kerry? And Anthony Blinken? And Jake Sullivan? And the list goes on. What did they do? They propped up Iran. They brought Iran back. Iran was like a hanging plant with no water that got watered and, boom, and threw some sunshine on it. And the next thing you know, Iran has the money, right, has the money to start funding terrorism again. But we can't just say Iran got money back from our country and regained the possibility or the ability to fund terrorism without saying we fund terrorism, and we have. So when someone says to me, are we making a deal with a terrorist? I have to tell you the truth. I only have so much time in a day to research things. And I don't like to say enjoy politics, but I enjoy politics and some of the study that I do internally in America versus some of the worldwide. I don't have time for all of it. So every time I hear, are we negotiating or are we dealing with a terrorist? The first thought I have is, okay, who created the terrorist? Who created ISIS? Who funded the terrorist? I'm just saying that, okay? Just saying. Now, that being said, it's a deal with the president now of Syria. One would consider a one-time terrorist. So give me right here some of the best screenshots of the day. Keep in mind, number 53. Well, right there with the Crown Prince yesterday. Keep in mind who all is over there with President Trump, right? The richest man in the world sitting right behind Elon Musk. Well, I mean, it was how long ago that I thought Donald Trump was going to end his relationship with Elon Musk. Front row seat, Elon Musk. Now, so here are some of the videos. First of all, yesterday in the speech, the Crown Prince, he really likes Donald Trump. Oh, by the way, they hate Trump as a business. They hate the whole entire family. They hate the fact that he has a worldwide organization of hotels, golf courses. They hate that his organization was smart enough to put these hotels and golf courses and these resorts in the wealthiest places of the world. They can't stand that. Just saying. So, video 5. That's little Marco. Little Marco was there. Now, in Saudi Arabia, the respect is you wait for the Crown Prince. And the Crown Prince led the standing ovation. Trump's speech yesterday, go watch the whole entire thing. It is really great. It really is. Now, so he's over there. It was an investment conference, and we sell Saudi Arabia military equipment for self-defense. Give me video 6. I just want to show this right here. The rest of the media, no one is showing this. Give me video 6. Now, folks, let me say something very controversial. The whole entire world, they do not live like we do, right? They don't. They don't live like we do. This is a kingdom. It's the way it works. Some of you out there are going to tell me the history of Saudi Arabia. You're going to tell me the way they back terrorism. Someone's going to say 9/11. I get it. What I really enjoy with Donald J. Trump, this is where we're at today. And that's something I really support with our president of the United States. He looks at it like this is where we are right now. And this is what we have to do to solve and stop killing people, having the world hate us all the time, everywhere. When I say that, there's people that hate the United States, not because of Donald Trump, because of our involvement with our CIA and other things that we've done, operations, unbeknownst to the American people around the world. There's pockets everywhere. And the world does not live like we do. So this is a kingdom. All right, now, Trump is very clear in front of everybody here. That was a $600 billion deal. Trump is very clear on Iran. Give me video 4.
Yet I'm here today not merely to condemn the past chaos of Iran's leaders, but to offer them a new path and a much better path toward a far better and more hopeful future. As I've shown repeatedly, I am willing to end past conflicts and forge new partnerships for a better and more stable world, even if our differences may be very profound, which obviously they are in the case of Iran. I have never believed in having permanent enemies. I am different than a lot of people think. I don't like permanent enemies, but sometimes you need enemies to do the job, and you have to do it right. Enemies get you motivated. In fact, some of the closest friends of the United States of America are nations we fought wars against in generations past, and now they're our friends and our allies. I want to make a deal with Iran. If I can make a deal with Iran, I'll be very happy if we're going to make your region and the world a safer place. But if Iran's leadership rejects this olive branch and continues to attack their neighbors, then we will have no choice but to inflict massive maximum pressure, drive Iranian oil exports to zero like I did before. If you know that, they were a virtually bankrupt country because of what I did. They had no money for terror. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, and take all action required to stop the regime from ever having a nuclear weapon. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon.
Now, he's standing in Saudi Arabia. He's very clear. He's with Arab nations, Arab leaders, and he's standing in Saudi Arabia saying, I'm open to working with Iran. I'm open to it. I'm open to put things behind us. All right. Okay. I'm open to that. But you'll never have a nuclear weapon. Give me number 30. Okay. And, you know, he is saying this right in front of the Crown Prince. Now, he also says it again this morning at 4 a.m. our time, was 11 a.m. their time the next day or something. I don't know. Iran proposes novel path to nuclear deal with the U.S. Iranian officials said their foreign minister had proposed a joint nuclear enrichment venture involving Arab countries and American investment. So they're talking, all right? Now, Benjamin Netanyahu over in Israel, he's mad because Trump's over there saying, I will work with Iran, but you won't have a weapon. Benjamin Netanyahu feels in Israel there's never going to be a day you could trust Iran or the people in Iran to accept Israel as a nation or people. I get that. That is what he thinks and they feel. And Trump feels it could be different. That's what he feels. And Benjamin Netanyahu came over here and asked Donald Trump, hey, let's attack. Here's our chance. Let's attack. Trump said, no, I'm going to try another path. I don't want to start another fight in the Middle East. I mean, you look at last weekend, Pakistan, as Obama would say, Pakistan and India. Trump got on the phone immediately. No. No. Right? Thursday, I mean, Zelensky's going to make a deal or it's over for him in Ukraine. But this is happening. Now, give me number 17, Syria, right? Trump announced he will remove all sanctions on Syria. And give me number, right? Trump announces U.S. will remove sanctions on Syria. This has Israel very upset. But Turkey, Erdogan, is that how you say his name? Erdogan of Turkey is working with Syria. And, they're trying to restructure the country. And this is not me supporting all this. This is me like, let's think this all out. Turkey has asked Trump to work with Syria, take the pressure off, take the sanctions off. President Trump announced in a speech at Saudi Arabia that he is lifting U.S. sanctions on Syria to give them a chance. Now, this has Israel upset also because Golan Heights, right? Damascus, Syria, they feel Iran is over here and they will never do anything to accept the existence of Israel. Damascus, Syria's over here with this guy. They'll never accept the existence of Israel. So my concern is Benjamin Netanyahu going to go alone. Give me number 29. And here you go. Here's all the headlines of the morning concerning Syria. Now, Trump gave Syria a list of things that he's requiring and he wants done. So this one-time terrorist, because it's all over social media that Trump made a deal with a terrorist, right here, number 72. Here's a picture. He met with the Syrian president. And to normalize relationship, the White House reveals Trump's demands to Syria al-Sharar, is that his name? Normalization with Israel, the Abraham Accords. Deport Palestinian foreign terrorists. So get rid of all your foreign terrorists. Help U.S. fight ISIS resurgence. And take control of the ISIS detention centers in northern Syria. So Trump is going to lift sanctions, work with Syria, but he's telling them, this is what I want done. I think Marco Rubio is actually maybe giving the guy some good advice, and I think he's surrounded by some good people right now. Somehow I feel that I'm going to get in trouble for what may be positive comments out of this. Now, I want a couple. I have one or two more. Here's number 19. I thought this was a great, here's 19. American business titans greet Trump in Saudi Arabia. I have a couple more. Let's go ahead and give me New York Times 28. Trump meets with Syrian leader. And before I go back to a couple more that Trump did, Trump meets with Syrian leader in Saudi Arabia. White House says there you go. And 46, the guy sitting right next to the entire Saudi Arabian delegation, 2 seats down from the Crown Prince, Scott Bessent. And number 49, this morning, and we'll go back to yesterday, but while I have this up, there is the Gulf Cooperation Council in Riyadh, and there's several there. Here's number 50. This is the room. I am still amazed with how beautiful their buildings, their palaces, their meeting rooms. Trump to soon address. So I watched this morning. Go ahead and give me 51. And here is the Gulf Summit, number 52. Saudi Crown Prince to speak ahead of Trump at Gulf Summit. So this morning at 4 a.m. Eastern Time in America, this is the Gulf Summit, and the Crown Prince spoke first to open the meeting up. Then he turned it over to Donald Trump. I just want to play. Diane, I'm going to stop this clip because I don't want to hear all of it. It's irrelevant, and I'll let you know when, so pay attention for that. Give me video 9, Trump from this morning.
Everybody at this table knows where my loyalties lie, always have. They'll never waver, never. And we'll stand with our friends and partners, and we'll confront the aggression that threatens us all. I want to make a deal with Iran. I want to do something if it's possible. But for that to happen, it must stop sponsoring terror, halt its bloody proxy wars, and permanently and verifiably cease its pursuit of nuclear weapons. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. I don't imagine there's anybody at this table or anybody in this room that would say they can. I'm strongly urging all nations to join us in fully and totally enforcing the sanctions that I just placed on Iran, and we also placed secondary sanctions, which are in certain ways even more devastating. Iran, as you know, had no money when I left office. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. There was no attack. There was no thought of attack. There would have been no attack if I were president. But bad things happened in that election. And I said, let's do it again. And by doing it again, it became much more historic. It's a much more.
All right. There was no money. Iran was basically broke. But they will not have. Now what's important is Trump said that in front of this entire council, the Gulf Summit. The entire council heard that this morning. Hey, I'm ready to reset with Iran. I'm ready to see what we can do in the entire region, but there'll be no nuclear weapon. And, you guys are going to hear that straight from me. It's not going to happen. So if Iran pushes the envelope, it's not going to be a good day for them. Now, let's go with video 2. Trump slams the door on the deep state. Video 2.
The transformations have been unbelievably remarkable. Before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other out of existence. We don't want that. And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves. Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love so dearly.
So, right there, Saudi Arabia, the modern Middle East, Iraq, Baghdad, the nation builders, the warmongers, you know, they didn't have their hands on this right here. And the destruction, Trump points out in front of the whole entire world, the destruction that has been done around the world, the lie that got us into Afghanistan, the lie that got us into, right, the lie that got us into, Iraq and killed our children. Trillions of dollars, right? The lie in Afghanistan, Saddam bin Laden, we had young men and women over there losing limbs, death, destruction, billions of dollars, and lost military equipment while he was in Tehran, at a hospital in Tehran. You can't make any of that up. And Trump called it out on the world stage, called it out on the world stage in front of everyone in the area. The warmongers did not get, give me, here is 56, Trump attending Gulf Cooperation Council session. Here is the Kingdom of Bahrain. And these are kingdoms. That's the way it works there. Here he is at the Joint 57. He's at the Joint Cooperation Council. Now, he still wants that plane. We could talk about that, all right? 59, MSNBC, Trump dropping the sanctions. Will it be a good thing? Number 60, Trump meets with leaders. And let me make sure I'm wrapped up there. The Washington Post, number 65, Trump's Middle East trip marked by potential private business conflicts. Oh, they can't let it go. They hate business. Oh, yes, they hate business. 66, Trump says the U.S. will end sanctions on Syria as he works to deepen diplomatic ties with Saudi Arabia. Now, he tells Saudi Arabia, I want you to normalize relations with Israel. I want you to normalize relations with Israel. And Saudi Arabia says, not without a Palestinian state. So one more video because we have to go, and then we're going to get into Tulsi Gabbard, some deep state stuff over there. Video 3. Let's go ahead and run video 3.
In recent years, far too many American presidents have been afflicted with the notion that it's our job to look into the souls of foreign leaders and use U.S. policy to dispense justice for their sins. They loved using our very powerful military, and now it's really the most powerful it's ever been. We just are getting a budget approved, $1 trillion, highest budget we've ever had in history for military, $1 trillion. And we're getting the greatest missiles, the greatest weapons. And, I hate to do it, but you have to do it because we believe in peace through strength. You have to have the strength, otherwise bad things could happen. But hopefully we'll never have to use any of those weapons. Seems to be an awfully big waste of money if you're never going to use them, but hopefully we'll never have to use them because the destructive power of some of those weapons are like nobody's seen before. I believe it is God's job to sit in judgment, my job to defend America, and to promote the fundamental interest of stability, prosperity, and peace. That's what I really want to do.
I believe it's God's job to sit in judgment. You sure it's not the CIA, Anthony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, John Kerry? You sure that it's not others that feel it's their job all around the world to sit in judgment, to nation build? So it's interesting. He's off to Qatar. Trump says, give me number 58. Now, if you and I have concerns about the plane, Trump says Air Force One is 40 years old. All right. Says it's 40 years old. And Boeing is behind schedule. The Boeing 747 is being given to the United States Air Force Department of Defense, not to me. It is a gift from the nation of Qatar that we have successfully defended for many years. It will be used by our government as a temporary Air Force One until such time as our new Boeing, right, which are very late, very late, should probably be a V in there, late on delivery arrival. Boeing is supposed to have these planes done, the new fleet of Air Force One. We don't know if Trump is pushing this to say, look, they have one, ours are way behind schedule at the company. But that being said, here's what I find interesting before we go to break, is if you and I are concerned about a foreign country giving us a plane, and that our president of the United States would fly around in a plane that was presented to us by a foreign country, I'm okay with that. But here's what I'm not okay with, is all these lawmakers on Capitol Hill that are all of a sudden showing concern that a foreign country could be infiltrating us, spying on us. And what is this gift all about? While China owns our farmland, they steal our intellectual property, and the media goes nuts because Trump's trying to stop the greatest theft of wealth in America, trying to stop it in its tracks. Companies every day, China's stealing our intellectual property, taking it there, developing products and sending them back to us in cheap factories, right? Flying balloons over and surveillance of our entire military, buying farmland, taking over our meat processing plants, and owning our food processing plants with groceries on the shelf. Fentanyl, you name it. We're okay with that on Capitol Hill. All of the above, spying on you through your phone, everything. Now, all of a sudden, they've got some Capitol Hill religion up there. Don't you love when they get what I call Capitol Hill religion, right? All of a sudden, Capitol Hill religion. They're going to save Medicare. They're going to save Medicaid for the poor folk. They've got Capitol Hill religion, and they just don't think it's right that Trump take a plane from Qatar. Well, you know what all could happen. So if you and I have a problem with the plane, I think that's okay. But those, well, we'll use nice words. Children may be out there in Washington, D.C. that have gotten the protect our country religion from foreign interference all of a sudden. I'm not okay with that. Take a break.
Massive truck discounts are back at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Up to $12,500 off Silverado 1500s. Up to $9,000 off Silverado 2500s. Don't wait for Memorial Day. Get them before they're gone. $12,500 off Silverado 1500s. $9,000 off Silverado 2500s at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Together, let's drive.
Larry's Body Shop in Ellijay. Family owned and operated since 1978. The latest in cutting-edge digital technology and state-of-the-art equipment allow our iCard Gold Class certified technicians to restore your vehicle. Our second-to-none customer service will work directly with your insurance company. Major accident or minor fender bender, we take the dents out of accidents. Larry's Body Shop, North Georgia's #1 body shop. Visit us at collisiondecision.com.
Why give your money to liberal media companies? Put your marketing needs in the hands of a conservative marketing professional and start getting results today. FYN Media Group, one of the top digital marketing agencies in Georgia, specializes in website design and hosting, social media promotion and management, and so much more. Visit FYNmediagroup.com or call 706-889-3564 for a free consultation.
Welcome to El Rey Azteca Mexican Restaurant. We invite you to indulge your senses with our from-scratch authentic Mexican food. Whether you are hungry for fajitas or the El Rey Azteca burrito, we offer a wide variety of fine Mexican dishes, drinks, and desserts. Our inviting patio, indoor seating, and bar has a seat for everyone. So come to El Rey Azteca for delicious food, great drinks, good friends, and loads of fun in a casual and friendly atmosphere.
Ladies, when you wear elegant jewelry, you become a force to be reckoned with. You shine brighter than the stars in the sky, and your inner beauty radiates like the sun. So embrace the magic, embrace the elegance, and let your jewelry be a reflection of your true, authentic self. My friends over at North Georgia Diamond know what a woman wants. Go see them for the perfect gift. And remember, when it comes to elegance, there's no such thing as too much. Come see us at North Georgia Diamond. We're igniting passion one sparkle at a time.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
Mesquite Grill, now offering online ordering for your convenience. Check out our new website at mesquitegrillbr.com. That's mesquitegrillbr.com. The great food and service you have come to expect, ready for you when you arrive. Open 7 days a week with a fully stocked bar and friendly service. Bring your furry friends with you and dine on our pet-friendly patio. Also, check out our catering options and let us prepare delicious food for your next event.
All right, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP, and you're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com at 10 a.m. David Cross will be with us. We're going to have a conversation. It's the Georgia Hour. The Georgia Hour. I'm going to give a shout out. I started out this morning, and, you know, Georgia is in the title of many things, but we started the Georgia Hour a couple months ago because we do a lot of national news. We do Georgia news that has national interest. Let me get that. National interest. We do that. But then we said, you know what? We really need an hour. We just focus on Georgia. And our good friend over at the Georgia Record, Bill, does the Georgia Show. Not to confuse, Bill does the Georgia Show. They do a great job. They cover a lot of things in depth. He does some good research. He really does some good research work over there. And I appreciate that I get to follow up here. But we have the Georgia Hour. It's Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock. It's 1 hour focusing on Georgia. David Cross will be our guest. We're going to have a conversation with David at 10 o'clock. So I know when we opened the show, Diane, I had that look on my face. I always pause because somebody will give me a text in a minute what that look I had on my face. And I didn't want to start with this because when I try to talk about this, I can't discuss it in a positive way. What am I looking for here? But it makes me angry. All right. I'm getting to it. Relax. I have it here. I'm going to try to do it without getting too upset. Here it is. Number 33. Now, I can't remember if it was on Netflix or where it was at, but there was a great series. There's a great series, Pete Rose. And the series aired right before his death. I mean, I think it aired only like 3 months before the man's death. And it was really a good series on Pete Rose. I recommended it to a lot of friends. And this is a childhood hero of mine. We had a love-hate relationship. The love was baseball because I'm just a baseball nut. I really am. I grew up a baseball nut. All right. So that was the love because I love a good player. All right. Now, for you out there, let's get it over with. I'm not an Atlanta Braves fan, but I've always liked Chipper Jones because I like baseball, and I will always, no matter what team you play on, take my hat off to the talent behind the plate, on the mound, in the field, or up to bat. I will always do that, regardless of the team. All right? So that being said, This guy, he hit the baseball. He should have been in the Hall of Fame. And in that series, he talks about being reinstated after he dies, right? After he dies. And, you know, I can't see this, but my love-hate relationship with the guy is he was on the Big Red Machine, the Cincinnati Reds, Sparky Anderson and Joe Morgan and, well, Pete Rose. Let's just stay focused, right? And they swept 4 games, World Series, my Yankees. And I didn't like it. I was so mad. But in respect for the Cincinnati Reds, I got to say a prayer. Hold on. I'm dizzy. I'm dizzy. In respect for the Cincinnati Reds, it was an amazing team. Tony Perez, it was an amazing team. My opinion, led by this man right here. Give me number 42. So Charlie Hustle, Major League Baseball removes Pete Rose and shoeless Joe Jackson, right? Rob Manfred, in a letter to the Rose family attorney, makes the sport's all-time hit king eligible for the election of the Hall of Fame. He's eligible now. Number 42. How many photogs do we have of this right here? Wow. All right. So take that down. That I had to get my mood. I had to get the engine had to start turning before I put this up, because this makes me so angry that the man was not alive to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose. God bless Pete Rose. God bless the family. Take that down. Now, I had to do it. Someone had to do it. Isn't that what Trump says? Someone had to do it. Now, let's see. I like this. Medicaid cuts. Now, the budget. We're talking about the budget. Give me number 44. And you will hear them cry about cutting Medicaid. Now, there's a difference in Medicare and Medicaid. All right. And Tim Burchett from Tennessee is a national treasure. This person randomly asked Tim Burchett, how can you assure the American people Medicaid won't be cut? Burchett said, how can you assure your mom that you still support her after she told you chocolate milk comes from a brown cow? It can be hard to hear, but give me video 1.
How can you assure the American people Medicaid won't be cut?
How can you assure your Nana that you still support her after she told you that chocolate milk was not coming from brown cows?
Congressman, how can you...
I'm sorry, that is like, I can't, I mean, how can you assure how are you assured that, are you still supporting your Nana? Chocolate milk don't come from a brown cow, kid. All right. So anyhow, I just thought that was great. Now, Medicaid cuts is what they're talking about. And how dare you say, you know what? You got to get a job. What do you mean I got to get it? No, you got to get a job. All right. So, number 47. So yesterday they're working out the budget, right? 47. And they bring in the Democrats. Well, they get religion. The Democrats now, they get religion. They get religion when Trump is doing something. They get religion for the people they claim to support. GOP's planned Medicaid cuts draw protest. So they go and find everyone they can in a wheelchair. I'm not joking. All right. 48. They go and find everyone they can in a wheelchair and they bring them to Congress. Medicaid cut protest, disrupt GOP mega bill markup. 25 are arrested. They're in wheelchairs. I mean, you can't make this up. Now, we are not about to cut Medicare. You have no choice. Now, we know this, and the American people know this. The American people know this. And we've gotten into a situation where we only deal with things on that day. Right? We only deal with things on that day, right? So it's like, remember when, you went and bought, when I say you, I don't know that you did, you went and bought that furniture, 0 down for 6 years, no payments for 6 years. I'm just saying this, okay? Go and buy that $10,000 worth of furniture, no payments, down, no interest for 5 years, right? And the entire 5 years, that one day you're going to look at the calendar and say, oh, is that today? We have been conditioned in America, right? No money down, no interest, no payments for, so many years. Get a credit card, 0 interest for 72 months. And then the credit card interest, I'm just throwing numbers out, is 42%. And the way America has been conditioned in so many years is our response is that today? But you knew this when you signed the paperwork 5 years ago. Yeah, but I knew that. But is that today? That's where we're at in this country. It really is. So we all know, Americans know, that Medicaid, Medicare, this over here, this bucket is broke. We don't have the money to sustain it. We know that. And we know Medicaid has been stretched out to be, right, universal medicine. We know that. It's slowly getting stretched out because every state, you keep hearing the debate. You always hear the debate, expand Medicaid. Expand Medicaid, Medicaid expansion, Obamacare, Medicaid expansion. So the whole thing was to stretch this rubber band every year, every day, to where we had universal health care. Now, our problem with the thought of universal health care is we also want in America universal, enormous pharmaceutical industry. We don't want to give up the insurance industry, all the above. So these great lobbyists out there are trying to make it all work. They're trying to make Medicaid expansion for the poor work. They're trying to make the insurance industry work. And they're trying to make the pharmaceutical industry work. And it's this large. It's this. You can't see that. Keep that up. That's all right. It's this damn large. And it cannot sustain. Cannot. None of the three can sustain. But see, we know that. We know that. And every time they talk about the tax cuts, no tips, tax on tips. No tax on Social Security. No tax on interest on car loans. Right? How are we going to offset that? I will tell you this. There's absolutely zero times that I could think of where the CBO, all right, the Congressional Budget Office, has ever scored something over 10 years it's going to add this, over 10 years it's going to do this. It's not true. I mean, to me, the Congressional Budget Office is useless in America. So we know that. We know America, that Medicaid, Medicare, it's going to be, oh, is that today? Yeah, it's broke. We know Social Security. We know all of these things that we've done, right? That if we don't at least take the approach of cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, that means criminals. That's the waste, fraud, and abuse is to stop the crime against the American people when it comes to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Okay, moving right along. But they want you to believe they're going to cut this, and your paraplegic, your senior citizen, your person that has a special modified van for someone that's disabled and needs help, wheelchair, they want you to believe that that's what we're going to do. And that's not true. See, we're asking if you want all these health care benefits, are you sure you can't do something? Are you sure? I mean, are you sure you can't type while you're in the wheelchair? Just saying. Are you? Because there's a lot of people that are productive people in the entire world that are business owners, executives, that will not accept that they're in a wheelchair, will not accept that they can't do certain things, that want to excel. Now, I don't know if I'm getting in trouble or not, but I'm just saying. And we're just looking and saying, okay, all right, you have needs. We need to work with you. I'm a believer that there needs to be, I have to tell you, I'm a believer that we have to take care of the weakest in our society. I believe that. I believe it's biblical. I don't believe we see our brother struggle and not feed our brother. I don't believe we see our brother struggle and not clothe our brother. I don't believe we see our brother lay on a street and not find shelter for our brother. But I'm not a bleeding heart liberal that says, hey, okay, can you do something? Can you do something? Anyhow, God forbid you have that discussion. It freaks them out. They lose their friggin' mind. Now, you will hear this. This one is just, have you heard about, now they're trying to pass this, we got to pay attention, all right? America, we got to pay attention of what's going on in these budget negotiations. I told you how I feel yesterday about the budget negotiations as we talk, but let me make sure I'm on the right track here. Budget negotiations. Now, yeah, you got Pete Buttigieg and the $1 trillion people out there. So how many are you hearing the argument of the salt cap? Now, I have to tell you, how many, all right, can you be honest? Can you? Let me look at the audience and ask you, can you be honest? Can you? I mean, every time, give me number 78, they say they're in a battle discussing the salt cap. Iodized, sea salt, pink salt, Morton's. So, I'm sorry. I don't know why I do stuff like that. House GOP tax calls for salt deduction cap of $30,000 for most. Watch Republicans inch closer to a salt cap compromise. Speaker Johnson predicts salt deal Wednesday as both sides report progress, and House Republicans unveil sweeping tax plan but have yet to resolve key fight over salt cap. Now, just a little FYI. Now, what SALT stands for, no disrespect to the audience, give me number 77. It is the state and local tax deduction. SALT, S-A-L-T, state and local tax deduction. Currently, there's a $10,000 limit on federal deduction on your state and local taxes known as SALT, which will expire on December 31st, 2025. This is a big deal. It is a big deal to entrepreneurs. It's a big deal to professionals. It's a big deal to families that are making less than $400,000. But I'm going to tell you, you got a family out there, you got wife, husband, you got two wives, you got two husbands, you got a billy goat. I don't know what the hell you got, but you got two people bringing in an income, and they got a small business, and they're making $300,000 a year in the small business, right? And they're working hard. So that's the one thing our government, they just have zero connection with working hard. They're having these religious moments right now, but they do not know, or they're not aware, and they don't understand how real America works. They do not understand a husband and wife sitting down at the kitchen table and saying, this is the dream we have. It'll cost us this much to get in the business. It'll cost us this much in overhead. We're going to have to turn this. We're going to have to make this percent of profit. And we're going to have to be able to handle our debt load over a period of this time. They don't understand any of that in Washington, D.C. when it comes to these people that run and get on a TV camera and negotiate this. So if you are making $350,000 and you're paying state and local taxes, right, on a small business, you can take 10,000 of those taxes and put it as a federal deduction on your return. It's a state and local tax deduction. Now, for small businesses or professionals out there making $150, good for you, $300, whatever. But if December 31st, 2025 comes around and we don't have this, and this is not in there, this is why it's a big deal. Now, House Republicans want to raise it to $30,000 for those making $400,000 or less, according to preliminary text related Monday afternoon. Now, what this would do, and this is why the SALT tax, and is a big discussion, what this would actually do would explode expansion in the middle class. Yes, it would explode expansion. I mean, if you're going to take on taxes, if you're going to have local taxes, this would expand the middle class with revenue to spend. If they have money to spend in their pocket, they go to the store. They buy something, you have to build something, they have to put it back in the store. It is a vicious cycle. So give me right here, number 79. Taxpayers who itemize their deductions may reduce their federal income tax liability by claiming a deduction for certain state and local taxes, known as the SALT, paid, often called the SALT deduction. In 2017 tax revision, commonly referred to as the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, this is Donald Trump, made a number of changes to SALT deduction, most notably established a limit SALT cap on amounts claimed for the deduction years 2018 through 2025. The SALT cap is $5,000 for married filing separately and 10,000 for others. So if this expires, there's a lot of detail there. So there's some serious things going on in DC that we must pay attention to. Let's take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about, I want to talk about, before we get to the top of the hour, I need 8 or 9 minutes. We've got one national story. We've got a story about Tulsi Gabbard and some changes being made in intelligence. And then we have our 10 o'clock to Georgia hour. Let's go ahead and get our break in right now, Diane.
Massive truck discounts are back at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Up to $12,500 off Silverado 1500s. Up to $9,000 off Silverado 2500s. Don't wait for Memorial Day. Get them before they're gone. $12,500 off Silverado 1500s. $9,000 off Silverado 2500s at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Together, let's drive.
Larry's Body Shop in Ellijay. Family owned and operated since 1978. The latest in cutting-edge digital technology and state-of-the-art equipment allow our iCard Gold Class certified technicians to restore your vehicle. Our second-to-none customer service will work directly with your insurance company. Major accident or minor fender bender, we take the dents out of accidents. Larry's Body Shop, North Georgia's #1 body shop. Visit us at collisiondecision.com.
Why give your money to liberal media companies? Put your marketing needs in the hands of a conservative marketing professional and start getting results today. FYN Media Group, one of the top digital marketing agencies in Georgia, specializes in website design and hosting, social media promotion and management, and so much more. Visit FYNmediagroup.com or call 706-889-3564 for a free consultation.
Welcome to El Rey Azteca Mexican Restaurant. We invite you to indulge your senses with our from-scratch authentic Mexican food. Whether you are hungry for fajitas or the El Rey Azteca burrito, we offer a wide variety of fine Mexican dishes, drinks, and desserts. Our inviting patio, indoor seating, and bar has a seat for everyone. So come to El Rey Azteca for delicious food, great drinks, good friends, and loads of fun in a casual and friendly atmosphere.
Ladies, when you wear elegant jewelry, you become a force to be reckoned with. You shine brighter than the stars in the sky, and your inner beauty radiates like the sun. So embrace the magic, embrace the elegance, and let your jewelry be a reflection of your true, authentic self. My friends over at North Georgia Diamond know what a woman wants. Go see them for the perfect gift. And remember, when it comes to elegance, there's no such thing as too much. Come see us at North Georgia Diamond. We're igniting passion one sparkle at a time.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
This is a special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
Mesquite Grill, now offering online ordering for your convenience. Check out our new website at mesquitegrillbr.com. That's mesquitegrillbr.com. The great food and service you have come to expect, ready for you when you arrive. Open 7 days a week with a fully stocked bar and friendly service. Bring your furry friends with you and dine on our pet-friendly patio. Also, check out our catering options and let us prepare delicious food for your next event.
All right, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. You're watching BKP Politics on voiceofruralamerica.com. We can't thank some out there for the free advertisement that we get every day. Fastest growing show, obviously, in the state of Georgia, the Georgia Hour every day. We appreciate that. Grassroots. Let me say this. Oh, by the way, the governor of Texas is in a wheelchair. Thank you for that text message. All right. The governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, is in a wheelchair. And I do not like anyone. I got to get through this, but I can't stand when anyone so in my past life, I had this, let me tell you this story really quick. I always call it my past life because I don't do this anymore. We had about 70 employees, and I could not handle, our general manager couldn't handle all of the payroll, our employee package, all the, days off, whatever. And so we made a decision that we had to have someone in HR. We had to have someone handle HR. Had to. All right. Weekly payroll, so forth. When somebody come in for hire, do all their paperwork properly, sign all the safety sheets. It was pretty in depth. You had a file. So we said, all right, we've got to have someone handle HR. So, we put an ad out there and we had interviews. I interviewed several people for the HR, and I had a young man that came for the interview, and he came in his van, and he got out of the van, and the platform come out, and he got out of the van, and he was in a wheelchair, and he came in the office. He came in the interview, and I asked him the interview questions, and we had a good discussion. And so I narrowed down the search to two people to interview again. I had about 6 or 7 people. So I called this young man, and I called another person, and I said, I'd like to do a second interview. And they come in. In the second interview, he comes back, and he's across my desk, right here, this desk here, and he's sitting there, or conference table or something. And we're talking, and I looked at him, and I said, here's how I look at things. I need the job done. I need the job done. I need it done correctly. I need someone I can count on. I need someone that will be here, that will show up for work. And I tell you what I will not do. I will not accept anything less in the performance of this job because you're in a wheelchair. You understand? And he said, that's why I want the job. Because I don't want to work anywhere that someone would allow me or look at me as someone that cannot perform and execute the duties because of this chair. I said, well, you're qualified. Your education level, you're qualified. You got nunchuck skills. You've got, you're computer literate, all the above, whatever. You're qualified to do the job. But are we clear? There'll never be a day. If it's not done, it won't be for any other reason that you didn't do the job. And I think the individual, until we closed that business when the economy collapsed, we closed the business. But I think that individual worked for us for 2 years, worked for the company. Great guy. Came in every morning. He was able to come in. We had his area, his work area. He was able to do the job. He was able to come down to my office, so that's number one. Number two, let me give you this other one. No, I'll tell that one on a different day. So, I absolutely love when they go on and on and on about racism and so forth. So I'm working for this company up in North Carolina, and I've told this story before, but it's pretty relevant now, being that they just attack me, racism and so forth. So working for a company in North Carolina, and when I take over the branch, I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina. Out of 50 employees in the warehouse, 45 are black. Okay, 45 are black out of 50. And that's a story in itself. So inside, we had a customer service area. We had a customer service area where we had customers come in every day, all right, and order stuff right at the counter, all right, counter sales. And our counter sales guy wanted to go to outside sales. Long story short, we needed a counter salesperson. So I put an ad, all right, went through, put an ad out. And the home office is in Raleigh, North Carolina. And this black lady comes in for the interview. She comes in for the interview. And I got about 10 interviews, counter sales. And my rule has always been in hiring has always been very simple. The best person to do the job. Period. Man, woman, best person to do the job. So I interview these people. I come in for a second interview, and this lady, I don't want to use her name, she's still with the company today. And this is in 1998. 1998, still with the company today. And she advanced. She's advanced with the company over the years. So I look at this lady, I interview her, and this is the best person for the job. So I called the home office and I said, look, I have my counter salesperson, meets the pay structure, so on and so forth. And they say to me, this is over in Raleigh, North Carolina, company's 30 years old, and they say to me, she's black. And I said, yes, she's black. Now, these were good people. These weren't bad people. And I'm told, out of all of our North Carolina stores, not one store has a black counter salesperson. You understand that? I said, yes, I understand that. You do know that's the decision you're making. I said, I understand that. And I said, look, it's the best person for the job. Best person for the job. They said, we're going to support that. We're going to support you. Just want you to know. So I hired this lady. She comes to work, counter sales, 1998. Was it 1998? Somewhere around then. Counter sales. Counter sales goes up. Does an amazing job still with the company today. Still with the company today. In 2007, 2007, we have 5 locations. And we had 5 different managers of these locations. So I said to myself, I need a general manager to filter all this. I need a general manager. And I was told that in the industry, that was a man's job. The general manager was a man's job. It was building materials. There was a lady that worked our front counter that had all the skills, and she wanted to interview for the general manager, and she did. I think she was the general manager of our company for 3 years until in 2008, when the economy went downhill. But for 3 years, there was a lady that was the general manager of the company. These people are sick, evil people. Give me video 10.
These people are evil people.
These are sick, evil people out there. They're disgusting. All right, we'll be right back. I didn't get my other stuff in. We'll be right back with the Georgia Hour as soon as we return.
Massive truck discounts are back at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Up to $12,500 off Silverado 1500s. Up to $9,000 off Silverado 2500s. Don't wait for Memorial Day. Get them before they're gone. $12,500 off Silverado 1500s. $9,000 off Silverado 2500s at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Together, let's drive.
Larry's Body Shop in Ellijay. Family owned and operated since 1978. The latest in cutting-edge digital technology and state-of-the-art equipment allow our iCard Gold Class certified technicians to restore your vehicle. Our second-to-none customer service will work directly with your insurance company. Major accident or minor fender bender. We take the dents out of accidents. Larry's Body Shop, North Georgia's #1 body shop. Visit us at collisiondecision.com.
Why give your money to liberal media companies? Put your marketing needs in the hands of a conservative marketing professional and start getting results today. FYN Media Group, one of the top digital marketing agencies in Georgia, specializes in website design and hosting, social media promotion and management, and so much more. Visit FYNmediagroup.com or call 706-889-3564 for a free consultation.
Welcome to El Rey Azteca Mexican Restaurant. We invite you to indulge your senses with our from-scratch authentic Mexican food. Whether you are hungry for fajitas or the El Rey Azteca burrito, we offer a wide variety of fine Mexican dishes, drinks, and desserts. Our inviting patio, indoor seating, and bar has a seat for everyone. So come to El Rey Azteca for delicious food, great drinks, good friends, and loads of fun in a casual and friendly atmosphere.
Ladies, when you wear elegant jewelry, you become a force to be reckoned with. You shine brighter than the stars in the sky, and your inner beauty radiates like the sun. So embrace the magic, embrace the elegance, and let your jewelry be a reflection of your true, authentic self. My friends over at North Georgia Diamond know what a woman wants. Go see them for the perfect gift. And remember, when it comes to elegance, there's no such thing as too much. Come see us at North Georgia Diamond. We're igniting passion one sparkle at a time.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
This is a special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
Mesquite Grill, now offering online ordering for your convenience. Check out our new website at mesquitegrillbr.com. That's mesquitegrillbr.com. The great food and service you have come to expect, ready for you when you arrive. Open 7 days a week with a fully stocked bar and friendly service. Bring your furry friends with you and dine on our pet-friendly patio. Also, check out our catering options and let us prepare delicious food for your next event.
All right, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP, and you're watching BKP. Well, no, wait a minute. I have to get my act together here, Diane. Let's try that again. Folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP, and you're watching the Georgia Hour. It's time for the Georgia Hour on voiceofruralamerica.com. Now, every day we have the Georgia GOP state officers election at the convention in June, and every day we discuss different candidates from chairman, first vice chair, second vice chair, and treasurer, secretary. Assistant treasurer, assistant secretary, list goes on. And Josh McCoon, the current chairman of the Georgia GOP, is running for re-election. And he has a slate. He built a slate of candidates. Now, the reason this is important before we bring our guest in is Josh McCoon won against Rebecca Yardley in the last GOP chair race, and you have the state officers, and Josh McCoon did not pick the state officers, the delegates did. and the delegates vote and they pick the state officers. And the delegates in the state of Georgia for the Georgia Republican Party intend to vote, put people in office, and then for you to walk away and work together. That's their intention. That's the whole idea of the convention and electing state officers. So Josh McCoon, the chairman of the Georgia GOP, he actually wants a team. He calls a team. He actually wants a team he can control. And he doesn't want anyone else on the slate. And he's done everything to prevent anyone else being elected by the delegates. So he's really trying to just take the delegates out. Now, this is important. I just want to play this video, Diane, before we bring in our guest, because 2026, all right, 2026 is right around the corner. We're trying to get rid of John Ossoff in Georgia. We have several candidates entering the race for U.S. Senate. We have to retain the governor's office all the way down the constitutional offices. We want to maintain and increase majorities in the Georgia State House, Georgia State Senate. We want to increase Republicans in local races to win local races, sheriff, school board, board of commissioners, local races, whatever they may be. And it's going to take a plan and a plan of action. Now, the current chairman always highlights that Donald Trump won Georgia in 2024. Okay, this is true. But you got to remember something. Well, I'll let Joe Scarborough tell you. Go ahead and give me video 12.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the difference is, of course, 24, Trump's on the ballot. Right. And what we found time and again, what Republicans have found time and again, when Trump is on the ballot, they do better. When Trump is not on the ballot, they do worse. And Trump's not going to be on the ballot again. Yeah, some enthusiasm for the midterms.
So I know you didn't want to see Joe Scarborough this morning, and I apologize for having to subject you to that. But as I said early on, Joe Scarborough, like him or not, he understands some politics. And Donald Trump's not on the ballot in 2026. He's not. So it's gonna take a lot of work to get voters back out. It's going to take a plan to get the voters energized. And a lot of people came out and voted for Donald Trump because he was on the ballot and not because he was a Republican on the ballot. So you got to go with all those realities going into 2026 and the challenges. So we have a chairman's race, and David Cross is the current second vice chair of the Georgia Republican Party, and he decided to run for chair. So we're going to bring him in at this time. We're going to have a conversation with candidate, bring Mr. Cross in, candidate for chairman of the Georgia Republican Party, Mr. David Cross. David, how are you today?
I'm good, Brian. How are you?
I can't complain. I can't complain. I'm upset over Pete Rose, but I'll get over it. Okay. So I'll power through. So
well, he's dancing around the home plate right now. So I just see him sliding in with his hands stretched out. I love that picture.
Oh. All right. So I called you up and I said I want to have a conversation. I don't want to do I don't want to do this next question interview, and I don't want to know your favorite flavor of ice cream. I want to have a conversation because the false information, the amount of false information out there is just absolutely enormous. So, every day, when I say they, we know the people that we may mention some names later. The chairman's friends of Josh, they spin something else, okay? And they spin something else, and we've heard about everything they possibly can, and they're angry. I mean, it's America. If you want to run for office, if you step up and say, I want to run for office, I would like this job, and I can do this job, you should be able to run for office without the anger involved. But they're basically angry. You and I met because, and I'll get out of the way, and you can highlight some things, but they talk about our relationship as friends, and I heard your name through election integrity groups. I would hear your name, but we never met. And I ran for first vice chair of the Georgia Republican Party, and I have my reasons. You ran for second vice chair of the Georgia Republican Party. You've done a lot of work on election integrity, and we bumped into each other on the campaign trail. I mean, we went somewhere, and they introduced you, and then they introduced me, and we said hello, and that's how we met, is through the campaign. Okay. And then we get to Columbus, and I win my election, you win your election, and then what? So, I mean, a little bit of our relationship, you and I, and how we met and campaigning and winning that election. Just step in here and take that part first.
Sure. So I get asked this question quite a bit of, why are you running? And I'm running for chairman for the same reason that I ran for second vice chair. When I ran for second vice chair, I didn't even really know anything about the organization. I wasn't involved in it or anything like that. And I had spent the last couple of years of my life working on election security and investigating, the election system we have here in Georgia and its vulnerabilities. And somebody came to me and said, you should run for the second vice chair position. And I said, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really have a lot of extra time, and money for dues and things like that. And it just kind of seems like a waste of time. And I said, what would, if I win, what will happen? And the person who was trying to recruit me said, if you win, then there's going to be a number of politicians out there. They're going to feel like they need to listen to you just out of respect for the office. And I said, okay, sign me up. I'll do it. And so that's where you and I met. And we met on the campaign trail. You and I got along, because we share, similar values, similar message. I think the people that are out there ended up voting for us, because of that. And, what was funny is that everywhere I went, people said, love your message. There's no way you're going to win. And when you don't win,
I got that.
we want you to endorse Ken Carroll. All right. So that was the big push. And I said, I think I'm going to do okay. And so I got up there, gave what I thought was a pretty good speech, and won resoundingly that day. There was no runoff or anything like that. It was one of the surprise victories that happened that day, because the coin stack, like my coin stack versus the other three candidates just like shot straight up. So we won that day. All right. And then, I've been, people say, well, you're just trying to climb the ladder, and that's why you ran for national committee man. Yeah, I ran for national committee man last year because I felt like I was not being utilized at the Georgia GOP. We can get into that in a couple minutes, but I was being underutilized at the Georgia GOP. And I thought that if I was on a national scale to be able to talk with other people involved in election security and election integrity throughout the RNC nationwide, I would maybe have a bigger platform. So that's why I ran for that position. And right now I'm running for the exact same reason. It's all about securing our elections.
You and I were on the campaign trail, and we'll get into so many other things today, but you and I were on the campaign trail, and I'm just good. At this time, I don't know you. So I'll let you know I had not made a decision to vote for you. Sorry, man, I got to break it to you, But I mean, I like what you had to say, and I get it's upsetting what I call the level of anger with the word unity tied to it. So I never ran. I've always been involved in the Republican Party from my family all the way back, always involved. And I never held an office. I had been, people had called me and said, "Hey, will you run for chairman of Gilmer County?" And I said, no, I will not, because I have right now, up to this point, I have moderated about 40 debates. I moderated a debate between Doug Collins and Martha Zoller when that seat became open and the redistricting all the way back in 2010. I moderated a congressional debate then. I moderated a congressional debate between Andrew Clyde and another gentleman. Andrew Clyde for Congress, and another gentleman, a House member, Matt Gertler. But what I'm saying is every time they would ask me to run for an office in the GOP, I would say, no, I do not want any affiliations. I want to keep, my a clear, never endorse when I do a debate. So when I ran for first vice chair, it was the first office I had ever run for, you ran for. But here's the thing, is I talked to Ken Carroll. He was very nice to me on the campaign trail. And a couple times I bumped into BJ Van Gundy. I mean, I didn't have no problem there. And Brad Barnes, I shook his hand in several locations when he was running. I'm going to be candid. Brant Frost never said hello to me, shook my hand, or asked for my vote at any time. He just never has. That's just the case. But at that time, I didn't know if I was going to vote for you or not. And we get to the convention. We run our campaign. And we get to the convention. And I have to tell you, I've told people this story. Once I won, right? Once I won and then you won, right? I came off the stage thinking like, okay, they're going to take me, and I know they're going to laugh at me. I know the whole group's going to laugh, but they're going to take me aside and say, okay, you got to sign this document. You've got to agree to support and back the Republican Party, and here's your loyalty oath. And there's going to be an orientation package sent to you, and then we're going to have a meeting at the office in 2 weeks. I thought something like that happened, right? Nothing happened.
You were wrong. And you were wrong.
Yeah. I thought the chairman was going to come up and say, okay, congratulations. This would be Josh McCoon. We'll get together in a week. I'll set the direction I want you to go. Did any of that happen for you, or were you as blind to the next step as I was? Because I'll openly admit that I thought the chairman would set the tone and the direction, and there'd be, like I said, an orientation package and all the above. I've been really talked down to that I didn't go read all the rules, But did any of that happen for you, or did you kind of feel the same way I did that day?
No. Listen, I was treated like a mushroom. They put me in a closet and threw crap on me, and just expected me to just exist. And the executive director at the time was on an active campaign to make sure that we did not have emails, so that you and I would not reach out to the governor in any official capacity. And it was literally like a silencing campaign. I've never experienced anything like that in my life, and I've served on a dozen charity boards, and things like that. I've never been treated this way. And like you said, I was frequently told when I came back and said, hey, this is not right. This is not the way things should be done. I was reminded of the rules of the Georgia GOP that said that I had no official duties and no business with the Georgia GOP. Thank you very much. Leave us alone.
That's okay, because like I said, they're going to watch this, and I don't care what they clip. I made mistakes not knowing what I should do next, or communication or lack of communication. So I'd be the first to say, maybe I did some things in error, and I don't mean not attacking anybody. I don't mean it that way, but because there was never any structure whatsoever. I'll never forget. I have a couple contacts around the country, and and we have been attacked together over the whole email thing, in which we know the executive director, I'll say the name, Travis Bowden, has said publicly that he blocked us from getting a GOP email. So we don't know if we're supposed to get one or not, but we're starting to get emails from other state officers that have a GOP email address. So we call and say, where is our address?
Right.
I expect it. And I'll never forget, I called the chairman and I said, why can't I have an email address? I have some contacts around the country that if I wrote a professional letter to, in fact, I had one state GOP say to me, get me a request on letterhead that you would like for us to help you out with the electors that have been indicted with their defense fund. So I thought I could actually use it and send out, hey, can you help us in Georgia kind of letters to help raise money? So God forbid, but I'm not going to get stuck on that. I'm just saying at no time was there any direction on what to do.
Right. Not once. But here's the thing. I'm being accused of if I get elected, I'm going to burn the place down. Well, folks, I've got news for you. To me, as a business person looking at how this organization is run, it looks like it's already burnt to the ground. And we need some serious rebuilding. And, my dad was a home builder. I understand the importance, of a foundation. I understand the importance of putting studs up. I understand the importance of the process, for building, whether it's a home or an organization like my business. And, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing for 34 years if I didn't know what I was doing. So, we need to employ the same kind of processes in the Georgia GOP. We need to bring business acumen into running this organization. I mean, we don't even have a budget, for the Georgia GOP. I can't even get my mind wrapped around that. But there's a lot of work to do. And if you go to my website, crossforgeorgia.com, you're going to find out that, we've got 13 initiatives that are on there of, committees and campaigns and initiatives that we're going to have to do if we're going to be successful in rebuilding the Georgia GOP and kicking out John Ossoff next year and making sure that we've got, Republicans up and down the ballot in 2026. We cannot say, oh, hey, we're going to do what we did before, because what we did before was all Trump all the time. We had a lot of volunteers that were out there that were working across the state, but they were coordinated and put together. And the playbook came from Trump 47. It didn't come from the Georgia GOP.
David, in the real world, people know, and in the Georgia GOP Inc. world, it's like the worst thing in the world because we've asked the question. And what I'm saying is, in the real world, they can attack me all day long, and I know you handle your business. You handle a lot of money for your clients, and we'll give you a chance to talk about that in a minute. But in the real world, there's an operating budget. If you're in the corporate world, I worked for years, and I had to present an operating budget. There is an operating budget. There is now our Georgia GOP Inc. has all volunteers, what we consider all volunteers, but there's travel, there's maintenance, there's expenses. We have zero. We're just money in, money out. Don't ask any questions. And it's unreal. And I think people are seeing it's unreal that how are you attacking us? How did we become the bad people all across the state of Georgia? Because we say there ought to be a budget. and we say there ought to be expense reports, and we say there should be spending limits. I mean, and you shouldn't be able to enter contracts without the executive board, and that's what this is supposed to be. It's like we're the ones that have asked the craziest questions.
Yeah, and we're at a point right now where if you do ask questions, you're apparently a heretic. But the reason why this election right now is so critical and why it's so important that we put a true grassroots person in place, my concern is that there's a lot of grassroots people that are out there that are just going to say, you know what, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I don't trust it. I'm done with it. I've gone out and I talk with big donors. I talk with people that have got, high net worth. And I mean, that's kind of what my business is. My business is, I'm accustomed to doing that. And when I speak with some of these people, they tell me I don't give to the party. I give to the candidate because they don't trust the party. We have to rebuild that trust. And it doesn't matter if somebody's going to be writing a $100,000 check, a $10,000 check, or a $10 check. We need 10 or 20,000, $10 and $20 checks coming in each month to keep the lights on and to move the needle across the state. We cannot do these initiatives if we're constantly in fundraising mode. It's kind of the equivalent of, once a House of Representatives person gets in there, they go to Congress for their first session, and then after that they're running for Congress again. We've got to change the dynamic, and my plan is going to be to rebuild this organization and make it so that it has got solid footing, so that a decade or 20 years from now, people are going to be able to look back and say, this is what it takes to build the organization and to keep it strong.
All right, so let me ask you this, and we're going to come back to a couple things. But what I really want people to know in our conversation today is that your goal is for the things that they're hearing from us is for it to stop now and change, meaning as chairman that you will respect the delegates' choice for first vice chair, second vice chair, treasurer, and so on. So when you go over to Dalton, I mean, let's say, you go to Dalton, you win, you're the chairman. You come off the stage, you're the chairman of the Georgia GOP. What's kind of like the first thing you're going to do?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up there with Josh McCoon. We're going to shake hands. We're going to, make it so that people can see that we're unified. Then I'm going to call up every single person who won and every single person who ran. Have everybody on stage. We've got to show the delegates and the audience that we are united. We've got these factions and these feuds that are going on right now, but that all ends on June 7th.
All right. So, I mean, I'm going to ask you directly, whoever the delegates choose, I think we should respect the delegates.
Totally.
Whoever the delegates choose for first vice chair, second vice chair, and so on. What would be different with your administration as the chair, as opposed to what you and I came off the stage wondering what's next? What would be different where you stand?
Wow. So the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to set the agenda in terms of how often that the executive committee is going to be meeting. The executive committee is going to be made up of basically the people that are up on stage plus the district chairs. We're going to let them know that we're going to be having a monthly meeting. It's probably going to be on the third Tuesday of each month, and we're going to have it, every single month. The exact same way that you would, with running a business. The state committee is going to meet on a quarterly basis, kind of the way that you would do, like if you're bringing your shareholders, together for a meeting. Again, right. I'm using the business model because that I think is the most efficient way to do things. And then we're also going to leap into transparency. We are going to have a full financial, reconciliation. Whoever the treasurer is, I'm going to make sure that we run through the books We're going to account for every dollar that has come in and every dollar that's gone out. Because right now, I don't think we can see the credit card statements. We can't see how certain expenses are being handled. We have no idea how money is being handled in the foundation. And again, I'm not presupposing that there's like a bunch of malfeasance and fraud or anything like that. But people don't trust the organization because there's no transparency. The best way to show transparency is to create that report, publish it, make it so it's available so people can look on the site and go, holy cow, I can see that. The other thing we've got to do too is we've got to make it so that anybody who is serving on the executive committee and the state committee is reachable. You'll be able to go to the Georgia GOP website. You're going to see that the people that are in those positions, you're either going to have a telephone number for them or an email address in order to be able to reach them. We've got to be open and transparent.
There's websites out there and there's companies out there that have transparent information on the front of their website and different pages, and then they have a login portal. So I mean, if anybody around the world or the United States wanted to look at the Georgia GOP and get all the general information and things like that, that'd be great. But there's no reason there couldn't be an executive committee. There couldn't be a sign-in portal for the state committee and for the executive committee where they could see some back-end things that are private to them. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we could do for transparency, and I think that's what people are asking for right now, because when I first got elected, I said to the chairman, I said, I hear about fundraising all the time, and what they want to lead you to believe is that the whole entire thing collapses. It just collapses. If they don't get what they want, it collapses. It's the end of the story. It's going to get burnt down. And it's the furthest thing from the truth. And I know people that I have been told over and over all across the state in the rural counties and a lot of the metro counties that say, look, I used to give $25 a month. I don't give $25 a month anymore. No way am I going to give $25 a month. And if you had 1,000 people across the state back into the $25 a month pocket, I mean, there's your operating budget. Now you're starting to make payroll. I mean, this is money you need. Obviously, yes, you can do a fundraiser and brag about 300,000, and you can go meet with different groups. But so let me ask you a pointed question. What I was getting to in a minute ago, because I think it's important that you make a commitment right now, and I'm gonna put you on the spot. There's several candidates for first vice chair. There's several candidates for second vice chair. The delegates, what's important to me is the delegates. The delegates say, Mr. Cross, we want you to be chairman, but we want this person to be first vice chair, this person to be second. Will you make a commitment that you will honor what the delegates give you, and that once all these state officers are selected by the delegates, you will then set a focus and a direction where everybody can bring, as you always say, their time, their talent, their treasure, and be a part of it? Can you make that commitment to everyone today?
100% commitment. Whoever gets elected in any of these positions, there's going to be a lot of work to do. And I'm going to need those people to be able to help with the initiatives that we're going to implement in order to get the growth going, get this growth sparked and the machine going. I'm 100% committed to working with whoever the delegates choose. No question. I mean, how's that?
No, it's important to me because, and I'll tell you why it's important to me. My day with the Georgia GOP Inc. is, that was yesterday. Okay. And I don't live in the past and have any problem with yesterday. Seriously, I don't. I mean, I'm okay. As a Christian on my worst day, I'm okay. So that's the way I live. But it's very important for me to ask you that, so that the next step is not treated like I was. Okay.
Right.
I wanted to help. I wanted to do things. I mean, you and I I'm first vice chair. Okay. Now, you as second vice chair, it doesn't work this way, but as first vice chair, what always concerned them is their worst nightmare that I could be chairman. Okay. And, I have chaired several boards. We can get into that if they want the background on that. I've been in management my whole entire life. I managed businesses that had multi-million-dollar operations from 300 people down to 75. Okay. And that's not the point, but their worst nightmare is that I would be operating the thing the next day because the first vice chair, so I asked every time I would ask the chairman, I'd say, please, can you just keep me in the loop as first vice chair? Keep me in the loop. So I get a phone call. What's Rebecca Yardley doing? I don't know. What do you mean? Well, Josh just put out a statement that she's going to be the training coordinator for the Georgia GOP. Now, I got a question for you, and I want to go back to that. Is that how you found things out?
Secondhand, yes. Yeah, that was. Huh? I heard the secondhand news. It was like having that little tin telephone up to your ear, hearing down the line.
I would get a phone call. I would say, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, right? So I'd go and check my email, and as first vice chair of the Georgia Republican Party, well, there it is. Okay, so I called Rebecca Yardley and I said, when did this happen? Well, I've met with Josh, and I don't want to quote because they're out there, the angry bunch. And she said, I met with Josh a couple times about this, and and we worked something out and so forth. And I said, so you went down to the office? And she said, yeah. And I said, who was there? Jacqueline McCoon? Yeah. Travis Bowden? I'm like, are you serious? So I called the chairman up, and I'm like, can you tell me this in advance? You don't have to, by the rules. You don't have to ask me. God knows, I know that. But can you tell me, right? So then it's Dennis Futch, and these are not negatives to these people. Or Vicky Consiglio, right?
Right.
She's going to be. I get a phone call. Hey, why was Vicky Consiglio appointed? What was it?
Finance chair.
Finance chair or something like that. Yes, right. I don't know.
I was the same way. No clue. No clue. No conversation. No details. Nothing. Just news after it happens.
So I have something else. All right. So I find out through the grapevine, and this is a joke, folks. So I'm not getting the job as the. I'm sorry. I'm not getting the job as the. I'm not getting the job as the executive director of the Georgia GOP, and I won't be on the bank accounts, and I can't sign checks. What's up with that? I can't help it.
All right, so this is an inside joke for anybody that's out there that doesn't know why Brian's laughing his butt off right now. Here's what it has to do with. When we were elected to our positions in 2023, we all met in the Georgia GOP offices, and we were informed that the former executive director Ryan Caudell was moving on to something else, and that a new executive director had been identified and had been hired, given a position, given compensation. No input from us. No, hey, Do you want to see some resumes from the executive committee or anything like that? But Josh said, announced that he had hired Travis Bowden. What we found out later on is that Josh is bestie friends with Travis Bowden. And so that's where the inside joke comes from, is that I'm not going to be hiring my best friend. And I told Brian, I said, hey, I don't want to like burst your bubble, but you're not my best friend. My best friend's my wife, so, and she's not getting the job either. So, but
I mean, you're just really a downer today, boy.
But here's the thing. Right now, we have an executive director named Justin Rice. He's a new father. He's a young, ambitious guy. He was recommended by the RNC. I think he's got some really great connections there. I think he's been doing, good work. I want to have a conversation with him. I did have a conversation with him a little while back, and I told him, I said, hey, don't pack your desk yet. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I said, if Josh gets reelected, he's going to put Travis Bowden back in there. At least that's my thought. All right. I mean, that's just the way Josh works. But I told Justin, I said, don't pack your desk. I said, if you're happy and you like what you're doing, I want to keep you on. I want to have a conversation and kind of see what's, where your mind is. So I don't have any plans for a big sweeping change with executive director. I need somebody who can handle the political side of things, which is where Justin's expertise is at.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
We're going to marry that up with business acumen, kind of the same way that President Trump is doing right now, with being a fantastic president.
Well, you're executive director, and there's a lot of other things that are involved, but your executive director of the Georgia GOP has to be a go-between with the RNC and things like that. And you got to have somebody in place that can field the phone call from the district, the district chairs and the over 80 and under 80 chair, and field things that need to happen there, translate that to the chair while working with the RNC. There's a lot involved. And I don't know this young man. I've never met him before. And the reason, I laugh about this is, there's people out there that like, oh my God, if David gets elected, they're gonna let Brian Pritchard, he's gonna give him make him the executive director of the Georgia Republican Party. And I'm not planning to be that. And I'll tell you why, David. Not because you haven't offered it, because I don't have the qualifications. I could do other jobs, but I don't have the experience to work with RNC. So it would be ridiculous for the discussion to even be there for multiple reasons. So I can't do that. I can't do that job on day one the way it needs to be done. And if the guy that's doing it now, that's up to you. If you meet with him and you guys are like this and you got to go in. And then the other thing that gets me is they want to do that. Travis Bowden is Josh's friend. Now, Travis Bowden left, and I don't want to belabor that on why, because I got a couple more questions before we hit 11 o'clock, and I appreciate this. But the guy I have been in business since, working with my dad, 18 years old, we'll call it. And I have never in my dad's business or anywhere 1 year of service see someone get a $7,500 Christmas bonus or severance pay.
That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
I've never seen that. I've never seen that. In the real world, it doesn't happen. So, all right.
It happens in political fantasy land.
Well, let's go back to that first executive meeting really quickly. We win the election. There's no direction. There's no communication. So we have an executive committee meeting, and we drive over there that morning. I'll never forget. You and I, especially I'm the first vice, nothing. I don't know the agenda. It's not, I don't know any announcements. And I sit there in the room. You have the executive committee, you got the state officers, you got the district, you got the over 80, under 80. And I'm sitting there, and the chairman's standing up front, And he tells us, and I'm as shocked as anyone in the room that Ryan Claudel is leaving. Okay. And that he hired Travis Bowden. Okay. Could you? So I don't know the rules. You mean you don't tell us? I mean, this is how we. So that's what he says, right? And then he goes around every time we bring up the finances, because Rebecca Yardley ran on a forensic audit. Okay. And every time anyone brings up the finances with him at any event, he always refers back to that first executive meeting. So we're sitting there, first executive meeting. Things are new to many of us. And he gives us this 10-minute speech. I'm going to just say 10-minute speech on what would happen, how donors will not come, and we will scare donors off, and it's going to cost us this much for defense money. And the very minute we say there needs to be a forensic audit, we're in big trouble.
Right.
And then he turns and looks at the room and says, by a show of hands, how many want a forensic audit? Do I remember that correctly? I mean,
yeah, he basically, like you said before, you say he poisoned the lemonade. I think he peed in the lemonade and then asked you if you wanted to drink the lemonade.
You could have done without that, Mr. Cross. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. I mean, yeah, it's like, okay. So we go to that meeting, we leave there, and we can go on and on about the phone calls I got, like Dennis Futch, Rural Voter Task Force, right?
Right.
Now, this is not a negative to Dennis Futch. I'm first vice chair of the Georgia Republican Party. Phone ring. Hey, what is this? What is this about Dennis Futch? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking. You can only laugh, David. I don't know what you're talking about, right?
Brian, it's crazy. And so, again, for anybody out there who doesn't know, Dennis Futch gave a ton of money to the Georgia GOP. I think last year he gave like $81,000. He was numero uno, on the entire, on the entire leadership team by a mile. And he was basically given like this TVA work project and kind of ignored. And I think he was disrespected. I think he was totally disrespected, because I think his heart is in this. I think he wants to help. I mean, heck, the man's got an airplane. He can travel all over the state. And when I saw Dennis Futch a couple weeks ago, I said, get ready to fuel up the airplane. I said, when I win, you're flying all over the state. I said, we have got work to do, and I'm going to need you to help out with it.
Well,
so I'm totally ready to engage him.
I live in a rural county. I mean, you live in an over 80,000. I live in a rural county. And I'm just going to tell you like this. I understand rural GOPs. I do. I understand them. I've worked with them for years. And since I've lived in the state of Georgia, I've always have participated in rural county GOPs. So when the rural task force, when the rural task force came up and I get a phone call, what's Dennis Futch doing? I don't know. So I go check my email. That's how this works. And, there's a statement out there. That's how everybody finds out. Call Josh. And I'm like, can you like maybe tell them that let me work on this task force? I understand rural counties. Now, fortunately, I called Dennis and I said, Dennis, I'd like to be a part. And we had a couple meetings and, but that's how, the chairman could lay the groundwork for that. And I want to ask you, like, let's go really quick. We've only got about 10 minutes, but it's just like the fish fry.
Yep.
Now, what I would tell people is my phone would ring off the hook. I mean, when these things happen, like, wouldn't you just start getting a bunch of phone calls from people around the state saying what's going on? And you never explain to them what was happening?
Right. And it seems like it would be really simple, because if you're the chairman you've got everybody's cell phone number, everybody's email. You could easily blast out like a leadership email and just let everybody know, here's the situation that's going on. Here's the, here's the facts. Here's the innuendo. I need your help, in dealing with this, to make it a successful event. That's what should happen. That's what leaders do. Leaders are proactive. I mean, even in my practice, in our financial services practice, I have my team make proactive telephone calls out. If you're reacting, you're losing. If you're reacting, you're losing control of the situation. You always want to be, one step ahead. And that's not where we are at right now with the Georgia GOP. We've got to get in the leadership role.
Well, a lot of people talk about the incorporation, and we won't belabor that. But, we left Columbus, and a committee was formed to study the corporate structure.
That has met one time.
10 minutes, one time for 10 minutes.
And nothing has come of it.
Even this past weekend at the GRA, nominating endorsement convention, it came up in a question, and he's still waiting for a lawsuit to be solved and so forth. And my phone was ringing off the hook. What are you guys going to do about that?
Right.
And I offered to chair the committee at that time. So let me say this. I want to be perfectly clear with the audience. Are you clear that the mission of the Georgia GOP, Inc. is to win, have Republicans on the ballot to win from top to bottom, that we have to go in? And I will tell you this, the only way I want to support the Georgia GOP in any way, shape, or form is that we understand, get rid of Ossoff, save the governor's mansion. And I keep hearing the chairman stop there. But I want to win from top to bottom, and I want a structure to win, and I want that to be the goal. You keep getting accused of just wanting to burn everything down. Can you convince people today that that's the furthest thing from your mind, and winning is what is leading the day in the discussion?
Totally. I mean, listen, all you have to do is listen to the chairman right now when he talks. He's got no plan. He hasn't revealed anything about any kind of plans other than to say, why are you gonna take the winning coach, off the field? And the reality is that we had a superstar quarterback and team who came on the field, and a corn muffin could have been the coach, and the team still would have won. And Josh has not figured out that he's the corn muffin. All right. So we've got to win up and down the ballot. It's obvious that we have to to beat Ossoff, and we are going to be instrumental and helpful in doing that. We've got to win the constitutional offices. We have to win all the way, the sheriffs, all the way down, to the Board of Education. We've got to win across the board, and we have a unique opportunity to do this right now because Trump won the vast majority of the popular vote in a lot of these counties, and there's still Democrats that are in place there. We have an opportunity to pick off tons of those, and sweep them out, and that's what we've got to do.
Trump won't be on the ballot, and I just can't stress that enough. Trump is busy over in Saudi Arabia today. He's busy with the world problems on the world stage, and he's not going to be on our ballot, and it's going to be tough. We've already got a couple candidates that have stepped out for Senate. We've got a couple candidates that have stepped out for governor, and it is going to be a very tough election cycle, and it's going to take unity. And I'll let you wrap up and make any statement, but let me just say this, all right? The anger is just unreal to me. Unreal, the anger. And we know what happened. We won't go backwards. And I know why they claim they removed me. But in 1993, what they want, they'll say unity, but because you and I are friends, there's like something wrong. There's got to be something bad wrong that they're friends. Well, wait a minute. You're the ones going around all these events saying, let's unify and let's grow the party and wait a minute. Something's not adding up here. So in 1993, after looking at a judge, there's a felony on my record. Period. It's done. It's there. Okay. Now, not to go into the long ordeal of a civil battle that I'm in the middle of, with the state of Georgia. They want me to wear that F at all times. They would prefer, it's like Laverne and Shirley. They want me to go out, and this is the way they talk about me on signal chats. They talk about me in the rooms. And they basically want me to go out and monogram all of my shirts with an F on it so I'm identified when I walk in a room. It's just the way they talk about me. Now, my point is, who do we not want in the party? Because there's people that they attack. They attack religious beliefs. They attack background. They attack each and everything. So who do they not want in the party is what confuses me. Now, I've worked with minority groups, and I'll just say it like this. I've worked with minority groups, and I've actually spoke to black men in a group that don't realize they can vote. And they can vote. Okay. We're not advocating or supporting any criminal activity, folks, but who do you not want in the party? That confuses me. Does sometimes that catch you off guard, the way the reaction is to certain people?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still blown away by different groups that kind of get segregated out, and and hey, if you're friends with them, then you can't be friends with us, or you can't lead the party. That's ridiculous. All right, I have got friends of every race and and color and nationality and from everywhere. I mean, I met this wonderful lady named Lusa, Lusa, and and she was at one of the Trump rallies, and she's maybe like 4'10". She's this tiny little thing, and she's got Trump bling on everywhere. And I asked if I could get she gave me a hug, and I asked if I could get a picture with her, and I said, "Tell me about your name, Lusa." And she said, "I'm from China." And she said, "When I came here, I got a chance to choose my name." And she said she made it Lusa, Lusa, and that stands for Love USA. And that just brings a tear to my eye when I hear something like somebody like that loves their country so much, that they choose that name, to do that, and as it stands right now, I want to reach out to anybody that's out there. I don't care if you're establishment. I don't care if you're a long-term person that's been involved in the party. Yes, I'm a newcomer. All right. But you know what? David, was a newcomer that was laughed at when he said, I will battle Goliath, the Philistine, and he is the one that slew him. So, we've got to be appreciative of people when they come up with their time, their talent, or their treasure, and they come up and they say, I am here to help do a job. All right. Now, I'm getting some criticism from some people down on the south side of Atlanta because I called out a particular family that's down there. And the reason why I called them out is because they are acting like bullies on the ball field. And we cannot tolerate that. We've all got to get along. Just because you have a big checkbook doesn't mean that you're more important than somebody else who's donating thousands of hours of their time and their talent to help get Republicans elected. We've all got to come together. All of those three different pieces got to come together as glue, and we've got to work together. So,
okay,
take everybody, take all their talents, bring it all together. Let's make it work.
So I'm going to let the viewers try to figure out that mystery. Okay. I'll let them try to figure out that mystery. I won't highlight it. But let me say this. Outreach. I hear this all the time, outreach. Donald Trump did an amazing job of growing not the party. They always say the party, but growing the voting base that we could tap into. Black males, black women, the Jewish community, Asian community, you name it, the Hispanic community, youth. All right. We have to build on that. We have to grab that and go into the areas we have to go into the areas with one of my friends that calls me says, you do realize these black communities are conservative, but nobody's going in and talking to them about conservative, and we can make moves now. I'm getting those phone calls. So
totally.
Can there be a real effort to grow that area of the voter base?
Brian, there's not going to be an effort. We are going to do it. And I'm talking about distributed out to the districts, and from the districts, into the counties. We're going to have people. I want volunteers that are out there that are willing to to carry that message, whether it's into their church, or into their synagogue, or onto the ball field, or wherever. We've got to mobilize people to get the message out there, because without it, we're not going to be able to replicate 2024. We have got to swamp the vote in 2026. And the way that it's going to happen is going to be with effective messaging and effective outreach and a plan to be able to reach those people. You can't just say, we're going to make an effort. An effort to me is the same kind of effort that it takes to reach out, for a Kleenex, from a box of tissues. We've got to do it. We've got to follow all the way through and complete the task.
I call it fence line politics. We're in an echo chamber. It's like all of our events are echo chambers. And I call it fence line politics. Go on a Friday night in North Georgia to the football field and look at the fence line, all the dads around the fence line. I call it fence line politics. That's where we have to go. Okay, so that being said, just one or two more quick things I want to bring up. Now, in mobilizing, will you make a commitment? Because I have to tell you, everything that, when I say the other side, is if elected, when elected, it's just disaster. So all the outside groups, your Young Republicans and your Greater Georgia, I don't want to leave anyone out, but all of the groups that participate, will you ensure that the Georgia GOP, with you as chairman, will participate with those groups, not change things, and bring them in to game plan of how to achieve all these goals that we have?
Of course, and I have no idea how. I have no idea how you would accomplish these things without these people. They're already built into the into the fabric of our society right now, and into the I don't know why you wouldn't. You've got to bring these people to the table, these groups to the table. You've got to let them feel appreciated, respected, and in some cases they may need resources. And I'm not going to go give them some kind of dictate and say, you need to do this. And by the way, when you do it, you need to go raise your own money to make that happen. I'm sure that there's going to be some resource needs out there. And I am confident that if you've got the right plan and you've got the right people in place, then the money will fall into place. I mean, there are so many times in my life where things happen, for no other reason than that God made it happen that day. I saw a guy that was on a podcast a couple of days that was involved in a conversation, that was disparaging me. And when I looked at it last night, I was thinking about, I was like, you know what? I really need to reach out to him. And I didn't have him in my contact list. All right. Haven't seen this guy in 10 years. On the drive in this morning, I stopped to get a biscuit, went into a place I haven't been into in 3 weeks, and there he was. That's God. These things are going to happen. We're going to make it happen. And I am very confident that God's going to be on our side to help put those pieces into place to make it happen.
All right. Well, I have to say what I wanted to do today, and there's people who are going to say, and we'll have you back and we'll point out some things and we'll let you lay out a plan. I promise you can come back. You can lay out a plan. You can tell people everything you want to do. But I really just wanted to have a conversation because, I've got people that say, well, you're angry. You won't work with people. You want to burn it down. And I'm just like, do you know the guy? Have you met the guy? I mean, I don't know. Let you convince people of that, so
I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about this, and don't take my passion and my vigor as poison that I want to burn it down. People felt the same way about Donald Trump when he went on stage. They painted him as this angry guy that's going to go in and just tear everything down. And I got my TV off right now because it's like every minute I'm hearing about something else that's happening. I mean, he got a $600 billion investment, from Saudi Arabia, yesterday. He got an airplane gifted to the Air Force, it blows me away what he's accomplishing. And yet, when he first stepped out, people are like, oh, he's angry. He's not serious. He's going to burn the place down. You know what? And I'm not trying to tell people that I'm Trump or anything like that. There's a lot of similarities that are going on here. My personality, I'm not the kind of person that's going to go out there and say nice things to placate you and that kind of thing. You never have to guess where you stand with me. I'm always going to tell you the truth. So anybody that's out there, if you got questions, go on my website, crossforgeorgia.com. There's a place on there that says contact me. Reach out to me, send me your questions. And if you want to have a conversation, put your phone number on there. I'll give you a call. We'll have a conversation all the way up to the very top, all the way up to the governor. Doesn't matter.
Well, I know a lot of people were probably tuned in today waiting for me to say, oh my God, this happened. And, and Saturday at the GRA and, did you see that? And we can do that and we'll come back and do it if you want. But my goal today was, look, what we really need is to come out of Dalton with a chair, a first vice chair, a second vice chair. And when they talk unity, that actually take place. That I tell you what I want. I want a chair that engages all the state officers, the executive committee. I mean, you have a plan to have meetings. I mean, what's there been? Only 2 state committee meetings in 2 years? Has there been 2? Is that it? I don't have your volume.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, the questions that I get from people sometimes are, when was the last state committee meeting? When was the last executive committee meeting? They were so long ago, I can't remember when. All right. And with me as a chairman, if somebody asks that question of, hey, when was the last executive committee meeting? Somebody's going to be able to say, it was the third Tuesday last month, and when was the last, or when was the last executive committee meeting? The third Tuesday last month. When was the last state committee meeting? They're going to be able to say, well, I think we had it like last month, like on a Wednesday afternoon, whatever it was, but they're going to happen on a regular basis. And we're going to be using technology to empower this, to make it so that, if you are in South Georgia and we're hosting this thing in North Georgia, you're not going to have to drive across the state to participate and have your voice heard. You're going to be able to use modern technology to be able to, to serve, your duties. I mean, I recognize the fact that people they have lives outside of politics, and we've got to leverage technology. It's the 21st century.
Chairman always talks about
now I sound like I'm angry. I'm excited. I want to get this done.
No. You're passionate. I don't see that. I don't see that. You're passionate. The chairman always talks about a financial review. He will never go the distance of a financial review. So immediately you will have a thorough, thoroughly go through everything with the treasurer. That the delegates, you'll bring the treasurer in. You make that commitment. You'll bring the treasurer in, the treasurer of the Georgia GOP Inc., and you'll bring them in and let them start combing through everything to make sure that there's transparency so people can have confidence in supporting the Georgia GOP. Is that a commitment?
Totally. And what's going to happen after that is you're going to see a quarterly financial report on the Georgia Republican Party website where you can look at what the assets are, what the liabilities are, what's the income, what are the expenses. It's gonna look like a business report. You're not going to have to go, hunt and peck and search through, FEC filings, because that's what we're constantly told is, oh, everything's out there. It's all publicly available. I'm a financial guy. All I do is read financial reports. It takes a little while to get through several thousand pages, of these PDF documents. And that's nonsense. You shouldn't have to do that.
They're fighting so hard. They are fighting so hard to stop. And I want you to come back. We want to talk about candidate access. We want to talk about the NDA. We all know that. But they're fighting so hard to preserve their power that I have to tell you, in the real world, you stop and think, well, what is hidden behind the door? What is it we can't see? What is it they don't want us to be aware of? I mean, I'm sorry, you just have to stop and think, wait a minute, what are you hiding? And that's my thought,
Yeah, listen, I work in a business where once a month you get a statement that shows everything you own. It shows every transaction that we've either bought or sold something. It shows every dividend or interest, credit. It shows any kind of expenses in terms of fees. It's totally transparent, 100%. And I'm also in a business where, God forbid, if you ever lose one of your statements or documents, I promise you, we can recreate that document going back as far as you want to go. So I'm used to working in a transparent world.
So the executive committee will meet once a month. They will have an agenda. They will be an integral part of the decision-making process, not things just reported to them or shocked. They'll be an integral part. I was talking to a state committee member yesterday, and I said, don't you guys think, because I'm not on the state committee, don't you guys think it's time that you have more input other than paper or plastic? And the individual said, wow, you're giving us that much power to decide paper or plastic, and laughed. So, all right, last word. I've kept you too long. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. We're going to have you back with some actual pointed things, but take a minute, tell people where to find you, and give, what do they call it, the elevator speech. Give it to us.
All right, so you can find us on Cross for Georgia. If you're on Twitter, you can find me at GA Ballots, like Georgia, at GA Ballots. And the bottom line why I'm running, I want to restore truth, trust, and transparency to the Georgia GOP. I want us to grow. We have got to grow our way out of this. We are going to break fundraising records once we get to this truth, trust, and transparency. We're going to have Republicans across the state engaged, and we're going to have an army that's out there to be a clone of Trump Force 47, and it's going to be called Georgia Force 26.
All right, so I want to say this. I got to go, but I want to say this, okay? I got to have another commitment from you before I go. I know. I'm in trouble, but here's the thing. So I get elected on a Saturday, all right? I get elected on a Saturday. At this time, I don't know all the district chairs. I don't know them. I don't know who they are, and I don't know all the county chairs. And I get elected on Saturday, and I get a phone call on Sunday morning, and the phone call says, "Hey, we want you to come down to the courtyard. We want to talk about some things." So I'm going to leave the attendees out. I'm going to leave that blank for now. All right. So I go down to this picnic table on a Sunday morning, and I'm sitting there with some people. And here's what they wanted me to leave Columbus with: a list of who I could trust and who I cannot trust. I was like, what? I mean, I'm serious, right? I'm there Sunday morning. I just got elected. Chairman really hasn't told me anything. And I don't know all the district chairs. And I'm sitting there at a picnic table, and this individual is saying, okay, you can't trust this district chair. You can't trust this county chair. I'm sitting there like, okay, I don't know these people. Why should I not trust somebody I don't know, right? Yep. Why am I not? So here's where I'm going to ask you to make a commitment to the body, because I'm a voter. I'm not for sure you have my vote right now. So here's your chance to get my vote. When you win, regardless of if a district chair, because I don't like an enemies list, and I'm tired of that. We can talk about that later. I am tired of a hate-filled enemies list and somebody getting put on the back burner because they did not bow down to someone. And that's just the only way I know to put it. So will you make a commitment right here on the spot to every district chair and county chair out there supporting you or not supporting you today, that at no time will they be, retaliation on them, and that you will support them in their district, in their elections, and they'll be an integral part of the party? I don't know. I had no other way to put it, David.
Listen, the way that I'll put it is it's going to be a new dawn. It's going to be a new dawn at the Georgia GOP. No enemies list. We're all working together. Anybody out there, if you don't like me, then you don't like me. But we're going to figure out a way to get along and work professionally. But it's going to be a new dawn at the Georgia GOP, and it's going to be amazing.
We'll leave it there. Thank you very much. I hope the people out there enjoyed the conversation and feel they know you a little better. And I have to now go and update my resume now that I'm not getting the job. It's just really, I'm sorry. I just got to chuckle over that one. David, you have a great day. Thank you for sharing your time with our viewers and the delegates that will be voting in June.
My pleasure. Thanks, Brian.
All right, folks. David Cross, candidate for chairman of the Georgia Republican Party. We need every single delegate across the state to be in Dalton in June. And I like that. So we can leave Dalton with a new dawn of the Georgia Republican Party, erase the hate, the anger, the enemies list, all the above. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Thank you, Diane. I appreciate you.